Welcome back to the show. Earlier, my earlier, oh, hold up. My computer froze. Y'all don't support this damn show, so I'm still using my computer from last year. Let me start complaining. My fans broke. They didn't buy the Bitcoin when I told them to. But this, did y'all like that? Did you like the show without the nigga talk I add to it? What it do, Eddie? Eddie's okay. Welcome to the show. I really got cut off in the middle of my stream. I was going hard in the paint and my shit froze up. By the time I got to fixing it, show was over. I didn't even feel like going back live. I went and took a shower. I worked up a sweat on that one. Holla. But I got some emails and a couple texts on my phone. Like, where you at? What? Wait, finish the show. I was like, okay. What up, True Light? So here I am. I had left. I took a shower, went and did a drive, did what I had to do to stay alive in the city near 165. And I came back, hyped up, like, yo, got some more clips. We get to kind of integrate post-Sonetta conscious community with the current narrative today. And today, we digging into some Steve Coakley. Steve Coakley is famous for exposing the boule. Not like these varmints call themselves exposing somebody today. This is nigga shit what they doing today. Steve Coakley was going to get the facts. His information had implications that cross the nation. If you're watching the show, like the show or down like the show. Let me see how y'all feel. You dig? Do one or the other. Don't just sit there. It don't matter to me. I'm used to it. I could take it. I've been banging on the conscious community for a minute. So I jumped over there and Sonetta chat after I got off the show. They was jumping. Sonetta talking, where you been, Pitt boss? Like he ain't watching the show. It's all good. I know I have a lasting effect on everybody in it. Got these cats tiptoeing around consciousness. Pit boss around. Y'all seen Pit boss? Nah, he ain't here. Okay. Black power. Niggas not going in. I show up. Oh shit. Somebody go get the white man. Pit boss is up in there. All right, let's get down to the nitty gritty. We got a few people in this chat. Y'all refusing to down like or like the video. It's all right. It's all right. I understand. A lot of y'all just tune in with your notepads trying to get some information for your show. He say, Eddie Isco, I would like to set up an interview with you, Pit boss, for the UK, bro, in a couple of months. A couple of months, man. God damn. I might be living in Alaska in a couple months. I mean, I come on. Who is this? Titan TV? Who is this? This ain't Titan TV. It's all good, man. You know, I told people I come on your show. Only thing I don't like is some people, it's like they're not really interview shows. So they come on and they ask you questions that you've been asked on another show that everybody, you know, watching. And then it just make it like, then they turn into the police show and they start asking questions they don't need to be asking. That's how Umar Johnson got his shit all fucked up. He went on to TV One, to one of them boule niggas, and he was like, so who you fucking? Fucked his whole game up. One question. The dude already knew who he was fucking because he was fucking her too. The whole game fucked up. Going over there to the police channels. To the boule channels. All right. So now, if you're boule out there, meaning you're a sorority, right? Steve Coakley probably is not talking about you in particular. Because when you talk about these societies, they like to get a whole bunch of people in the room, but they can only use a few of you. The rest of you are just there symbolically. So understand that you got to get in that door to be where they really can use you. Just because you joined a fraternity when you was in college and you considered boule because you belong to the organization, most likely you don't even know what the hell is going on. But if you have the capacity, the position, and the persuasion with the black nation, they'll pull you aside, give you the raw treatment, take you in the back, put the stamp on you, and then start teaching you something deeper than everybody else in the room. And then your career will blow up phenomenally. And you will become part of the tools that they use to control black society. You gotta agree something is affecting the direction of black society, and it's certainly not the blacks or the Moors or the Hebrew Israelites or the Kemites or the black atheists or all these names these slaves come up with because they don't remember their mama and their daddy, and nobody wants to affiliate with being associated to the slave. So if that's you, this show really ain't about you. It's about the bigger concept. It's about the powerhouses who in it. Let me give you a more tangible comparison on a low level for some of my low level thinkers that watch my show. You know, the ones that down like my shit. I got to give you a gangbanger comparison. In a gang, everybody looks like a gangbanger. But out of 100 gangbangers, only like 10 of these dudes is real gangbangers. The other ones are just wearing the colors, talking the talk, but they ain't walking the walk. Every gangbanger ain't busting no guns. He ain't selling no dope. He just wearing the colors, claiming the gang, but ain't put in no work. It's only a few workhorses in any crowd. That was a ghetto version comparison for my low-level thinkers that watch my show. Now that I done pissed you off, now that I got you nice and pissed off. What up, K Burton, baby? Oh, brother, Eddie Isco. I wouldn't be offended if you were a Kemetic. I just talk the information. I mean, it's not my job to worry about what an individual believes. I'm here to illustrate to the people who want to know information more clearly thought out by real critical thinkers. But if we gonna do it, I can't be waiting no 3 months and shit. I got a life. I got shit to do. You must be booked up over there. Anyway. Oh, I got another like on my page. Can you down like my video? Let me see where you at, baby. Yeah, 3 months from now, I might be gone again. I might take another nap on these Negroes. Okay. So I was told I should start part 2 right where part 1 left off. But I want to do you better than that. This is such a long, broad subject that just goes on forever. You could talk about this subject. I'm just going to flow because that's how I do it. I've been doing what I do so long, I don't need no preparation. Like for Eddie, I come on your show, I don't need no prep. You ain't got to tell me what the title is. Just ask me a question. I'm really that dude. I can answer your question. Obviously, if you've been watching, you already know what to ask me, I guess. How big is the audience over there in the UK, bro? Can I pack a room like Umar? Are we going to do it on your channel? You trying to build a channel? Because I only got like 7 viewers. I ain't going to boost your ratings up or nothing like that. All right. Let's get down to the business. If you're just tuning in, we ain't even got started yet. But we about to. So the story picks up. We way back 20 years ago, conscious community, Steve Coakley. Wasn't no such thing as a Sarah Sunseti. There was no invention of a Sonetta TV. There was no nigga shit on YouTube. There was no YouTube. Steve Coakley is on the old-fashioned monitor screen with the hard plastic superimposed on the chalkboard with a stick pointer, not the electric beam. You got a stick pointer. The wizard and the wand. Get into it. Now, Steve Coakley is Afrocentric. If he was alive today, we would say he Kemetic with it. Now, he kind of passed away right as this whole conscious community shit started to bubble, so he doesn't appear on too much, but he did come on a couple of people's blog talk radios. He was around, to see Obama, all that there. He didn't just fall off the planet 20 years ago. I like the brother. I got a lot of critical thinking out of his videos back in the days. I knew he was, kind of Afrocentric with it. So now in 2018, when I look back, Steve Coakley get cracked like the rest of these dudes when it comes to adding in that satanic Kemetic information and claiming that that's Afrocentricity when I can turn on YouTube and look at Afrocentricity and ain't none of them doing this shit that these niggas in America are doing. There's no Kemetic community going on in Africa on YouTube at all. Nowhere. Ain't nobody claiming to be Kemetic in Africa. Just these weirdos. And I'm not just going in on the Kemetics. Today's subject is Boule. Boule is a part of the Talented 10th. And the Talented 10th job was to go into every sector, into the Christians, into the Nation of Islam, into the Moors, into the satanic, into the black atheists. It didn't matter. If black folks was over there thinking, they needed a Talented 10th there leading them. And so for the modern day Kemetic persuasion, Steve Coakley was just a regular guy who got involved with the Boule too strong. He was too effective. They tried to neutralize him. That didn't work. So they just poisoned him when all else had failed. He went out like Booker T, poisoned. His information, as you get ready to see, it blends quite nicely with the Pitt boss Booker T perspective. But I'm going to show you, he was like these guys. He pointing towards Garvey. Because that's why these dudes didn't know nothing about Booker T, because they were studying Steve Coakley and all of these guys, and they wasn't talking about Booker T. And when he mentions Booker T, he only mentions them in coalition with he fighting against W.B. Du Bois and the satanic Boule Harlem Renaissance. That's who destroyed the Booker T, and the Garvey was the Harlem Renaissance Negroes, the literary artists, the Boule. According to Steve Coakley, don't get mad at Pitt, boss. We talking about what Steve Coakley talked about. Steve Coakley could have been on the news, CNN, Fox, going in as a contributor. But he was too obsessed with keeping it real in a world that's not built on keeping it real. Oh, you like that Kemetic Kool-Aid? Man, I love doing that Kemetic Kool-Aid video. That's one of my classics. Boy, I liked that one. Them kind of videos just come out of nowhere depending on what I'm into. Okay, so now that my haters dip because I'm going too hard on the Kemetic. I mean, don't take it personal, because if you follow that view, you just fell into this shit. You didn't know all this other shit was going on. You thought that shit was cool, and it is cool, but it ain't cool to utilize that to try to crush and dominate something more better than you. A higher level of consciousness. Oh, snappers. What happened? I just killed my page. Hold on, y'all. I got to open up my Facebook page. I mean, my YouTube page. I didn't kill the show. I just killed my page. I'm taking my time because, you know, I'm about to drill. Once I get the drilling, I was waiting on Gigi to show up. There she go. Let's get cracking. What up, G? Jizzle? And Eunuch, what it do, man? In the room with the shades on. All right, let's get this show cracking. So this is part 2. We're continuing on. Righteous Media Group, peace to the house. We we got a few fans in the show. Let's get it. It's time to crack. So I'm gonna start off playing some Steve Coakley, and I'm gonna pause, and I'm gonna go a little deeper, and then I'm gonna blend in some new shit. Let's get it popping.
And it's very important to know that if you look to Alpha Phi Alpha website, there's alphas, kappas, Qs, and Phi Beta Sigma. There's Zeta Phi Beta, Delta Sigma Theta, AKA, and Delta, I'm missing somebody, Sigma Gamma Rho. If you look to, say, the Alpha website, they brag about being 95% of all black lawyers. Now, the alphas are 95% of the black lawyers. What does that leave the kappas, the Qs? Okay, now we're in the 90s. They claim to be 65% of the black accountants, the lawyers, the doctors, dominating. And it may be that our professions are dominated by people in the Greek societies. At Howard, there was a student that I tried to help get a doctorate in engineering. Very exclusive about giving them out. If you get one, you're set for life. Morgan State, Howard are very exclusive. Took big money from governments to make engineers, but the brothers weren't coming out. And when we got deeply involved, we found how close-knit, how selective the professional process is. So he ended up at the patent office. He was a Kappa. He said, we have 15 blacks, 1 female, 14 brothers, and all 14 of us are Kappas. Only Kappa's gonna get in here. And their job all over where we think we're applying for something fair and open. But I would suggest that the ruling class recognized this was a very significant period, D-Don, when they decided that they would give a college degree to a person of African ancestry in America who after Reconstruction should have been pretty pissed off. And so they were very weak about it to Africans in America, only 2,000. So there was this thing they went through, a born man versus the made man. The born man, the king and the queens of Europe, had to deputize people to colonize the lands, the Columbuses and the Cecil Rhodeses who went to Africa. They weren't the aristocracy, but they fought to be gladiators and colonists and explorers. The Lewis and Clark, who were Masons. These men used the societies to advance the wishes of the ruling class, and they set up a system, a circle within a circle, within another circle. Each circle protected the circle within it. So when you look to that Boule logo, you see there's an urn. There's an animal with the wing of the bird, the tail of a lion, and it's got an urn, and it's got its paw over the urn. And it says in the history book number 2 by Hobart Jarrett that in the urn are the names of the people who are chosen to lead the state, which suggests that part of the society function is not to make known who the people of power and authority are. And one of their most serious indictments to this society is what they were used to do against Marcus Garvey. Can you explain that, please? Marcus Garvey, who began to surge for Africa, the Negro.
Okay, I got to cut in because this is where I got to improve on Steve Coakley. This is classic Afrocentric teaching. This is why the majority of these people today, these Kemetic RBGs, is all fucked up in the head and never got proper teaching, because the elders prior to them taught the information they regurgitating and they never clarified. This is what made me pinpoint Booker T, because I realized that Garvey wouldn't have been a damn thing. Nothing. He wouldn't even had shit he could say out his mouth if he didn't study what Booker T done and was doing. This is why I connected Booker T to the ANC. I connect Booker T to the bond market in Japan and China and the industrial revolution going on in China and Japan and Asia. I connect all that to Booker T. The entire Garvey movement is Booker T. Booker T's connected to Liberia. I taught y'all, or at least shared with you, little Liberia in what we call Baja California, or San Diego, California today, right by the border near Tijuana, Mexico, was a city of black people. Long before Black Wall Street, the shit y'all know about, there was little Liberia. I showed you the president of Liberia who came to visit Tuskegee Institute. You could go there now to Liberia, and they got Booker T shit laying there. Little Liberia was put into the mix. Firestone went there instead of Garvey because Liberia is full of rubber trees, and that's their main plant. They're sucking rubber out of Liberia to create a Firestone. Now, for the serious-minded consciousness that's left after all of this rigmarole that the conscious community been delivering, we're at a pinnacle where if you don't get back to some real shit, you're going to be stuck a troll on YouTube for way too long. Just a stuck troll. Y'all know Pitt Boss is a profit in this thing. You could have bought the Bitcoin for $750 this time last year. Now I'm telling you, this time next year, South Africa gonna be the biggest story on earth. Because if Julius Malema takes power, already passed the laws, and I have to utilize South Africa, the Boule, the Black Power conscious community, Garvey, Booker T, all in one whop to show you how this game is laid out and being played out again, and who's who represent who. So I'm bringing you in, Steve Coakley, to refresh your memory that the Boule is a real thing. They have websites, organizational structures. They're high level. They are definitely not STEM trained. They're lawyers, doctors, dentists, politicians, nurses. They got all the goddamn education and very little education in the STEM at a PhD level, doctorate levels. All of these black people go to college and none of them come out with a STEM education. And then they say that a STEM education is lower level thinking because that's what Booker T was doing, was giving us a lower education. But the #1 school in America is MIT. And MIT says if you come from Harvard or Yale, you will not pass in MIT. We talking engineering at the highest levels, mathematics at the highest levels, chemical science at the highest levels, and these literary geniuses can't understand it. This level of thinking is beyond their comprehension. So somebody initiated these black people and guarded them. I also shared with you that Boule Du Bois went to FBI, J. Edgar Hoover, and informed him about the Garvey movement on the rise. I showed you the FBI papers when I popped in on Sinetta and Dr. Esai E41. trying to go in on a subject that he just came around thinking he was really on it. And I was like, you know, you don't know what you're talking about. And when he got to talking about this and that and wanting to come with that Boule Du Bois, I said, hold up. And I went to the FBI files that was made public by the White House. And said, here on this document, confirmed by the White House, is your boy, along with Agent 800, that white folks so craftily named Old English 800. Yeah, that's my brand. I drink it in a 48-ounce can. Had NWA drinking Old English 800, nicknamed after the first black federal agent and the very first black to get a Fed case was none other than Garvey. After Garvey, the red, black, and green went underground. What popped up is a little bit agent-like. We had the Nation of Islam and we had the Noble Drew Ali. Neither of the two represented red, black, and green. They had their own troubles. Because, you know, white folks going to be hard on all the slaves. Whether he give you an extra biscuit or not, you still a slave. So now we have seen, you know, 50, 60 years of those operations in effect. And though I had my great years of listening to some Farrakhan speeches growing up, I can't look back at him and say, I'm riding with that. Not me. Oh, no, not me. I'd rather go to South Africa and ride with Julius Malema on some real revolutionary type shit. Not no talk game. So I was listening to Sinetta after I finished my show, and somebody called in his show and started talking about the only thing we ain't tried was war. Sinetta just sat there looking confused at him, like, huh? Well, yeah, we ain't. What do you mean? We at war. We've been at war. But I realized that Sinetta's crowd is just the bottom barrel thinkers talking out loud. I'm talking about the viewers. They like the bottom barrel thinking out loud. Like, you hurt my eardrums to even hear you think out loud. Because the narrative is this. One of the dudes called in and he says, well, you know, Sinetta, in the 60s, the Black Power movement was trying to do something for us. They was marching for free lunches at school. They wasn't marching for schools. They was marching for free lunches. And, you know, all the Panthers today work in the U.S. They went and got scholarship degrees. Their integration is fully. And the ones that was somewhat rebellious got shot, put in jail, or dead. And the ones that's left over, it ain't a peep. They do a show and they want to talk about the good old days, and it ain't no good old days. You got to be colder than Harold Cruz. And none of them are. None of them got a book better than Harold Cruz explaining anything. But they're here. So we got to listen to them. But anyway, the narrative on Sinetta is this. That the Christians was trying to integrate us or take us down. Like somehow they're using the word Christian, and it's double speak, because they say Christianity and they just broad swipe that shit. And it's like, damn, I want to know, when you think that the Christians is doing this and doing that, are you talking about white Christians? Are you talking about black Christians? Who are you talking about? Who are you talking about? Because when I look back to the 60s,
60s, 60s, 60s, 60s, 60s, 60s, 60s, 60s, 60s, 60s, 60s, 60s, 60s, 60s, 60s, 60s, 60s, 60s, 60s, 60s, 60s, 60s, 60s, 60s, 60s, 60s, 60s, 60s, 60s, 60s, 60s, 60s, 60s, 60s, 60s, 60s, 60s, 60s, 60s, 60s, 60s, 60s, 60s, 60s, 60s, 60s, 60s, 60s, 60s, 60s, 60s, 60s, 60s, 60s, 60s, 60s, 60s, 60s, 60s, 60s, 60s, 60s, 60s, 60s, 60s, 60s, 60s, 60s, 60s, 60s, 60s, 60s, 60s, 60s, 60s, 60s, 60s, 60s, 60s, 60s, 60s, 60s, 60s, 60s, 60s, 60s, 60s, 60s, 60s, 60s,
And I say, well, what about the deacons of defense, nigga? What about those Christians? What about Martin Luther King, nigga? He was still getting shot at. He was still getting firebombed. He died for the cause. Wasn't he a Christian? Who? Huh? Nah. They live in a dream because, see, they can't point at Kemites in the 60s because the Kemites in the 60s was still trying to get off Quaaludes. They hadn't quite really came up out that era. And when I grew up, nigga, the Kemetic community was some weirdos with a small little corner at the park playing congos, but they was cool. They wasn't with the nigga shit. They was over there vibing, levitating, and all that type of shit. But they was so small in numbers that they was quiet. And so for all the gangster shit I was able to view, the Rodney King riot, the gangbangers had to come out and handle that one. Nation of Islam wasn't burning shit down. The Christians wasn't tearing up shit. The gangbangers was acting a fool. What category do you put them in? They Christians? So they use this word Christianity as some doublespeak shit, where it's not no real meaning of what this motherfucker trying to say. He just got to continue the narrative at all costs, push the line, because they're trying to get ratings. They're not trying to say, look, I'm just going to drop the info and let the chips lay where they may. So when you listen to these niggas, you get bored because you can't get any real information out of the person speaking, because he has to make his particular perspective seem to be the correct perspective when he speaks, when he talks about information. But for me, I can land on my paradigm and just spit it, because the people I'm talking about are the champions that we have, and they following the same shit I'm following. So I can spit it that way. See, when I talk about Garvey in the conscious community, none of them niggas agree with Garvey at all. I did too many shows. I played his speeches. Garvey wouldn't get no love out of this community, because as soon as he get to talking about God is first, they gonna flip out. When I talk about Booker T, God gonna come into play again. When I talk about Harriet Tubman, God gonna come into play again. And we not really gonna work out history through black people in America that had any real effect, and we don't talk about God. Now, since they have an agenda, I want y'all to listen to Steve Cloakley a little more, because in 93, this speaking takes place somewhere around that time. The Kemetic agenda wasn't heavily banging on the Bible. It was always banging on the Bible since Dr. Ben. Dr. Ben's favorite quote, throw away that Bible. You can't bang no harder than that. But it wasn't heavily projected at that time. So now let's go back before the anti-Bible guys look like rappers, look like gay niggas from Kemet.
breaking free doesn't have a good reason to get with the white American establishment.
You're right.
They don't have a good reason.
They're not getting paid.
They just built the country, got set free, didn't get the 40 acres and the mule,
Right.
got reconstructed when they began to move into the southern houses in the Senate. They got reconstructed and knocked back. So there's disarray in our community. And this is before the industrial cities of Chicago and others began to have steel and what do you call it? Stock markets. These are cattle, not bonds, where people began to work in the South, fled to the North to work in those factories. And Robert Abbott, who was a Boule man from Chicago Defender, who it was a period when all the black editors were brought into Washington and told that they would have cracked down on Marcus Garvey, and their newspapers were not.
Okay, I love it. We have a newspaper in Chicago called The Defender. Now, he just gave you the guy's name. These are the editors. These are the same group that just was smashing on Booker T. Same group. Because the era ain't that far ahead. But Garvey is the new Booker T with a little more spice to his shit. And they already seen what was going on with the Booker T era. But I think Booker T was more masterful because he was able to do it without offending the white folks while he laid down the plan. This is what Julius Malami is learning. Because 2 years ago when Malami had to build his crew, he had to bang on the beast. He was talking about killing farmers and taking the land on some. And then he realized, okay, I'm going a little too hard. Let me slow down the message. Now he's saying, stop talking war. But see, these niggas out here, they want you to think that the answer is war. Like, you know, ISIS can't fuck with the America, but these niggas can. This is what they want you to believe, that ISIS getting their ass kicked if they even exist or whatever. Syria just got a bomb put on their ass and they ain't bounced back. But these niggas could get these white folks to business. But I done seen gangs try that shit. And they ain't had to do nothing but walk these niggas in the courtroom, start yelling out 50 years, and niggas got to tell it. They done took down the hardest drug kingpins and motorcycle gangs, and time after time they walk your ass in that courtroom, and you niggas get to talking. Now, what you think these weak ass conscious niggas will do if they go to war? They telling on niggas YouTube pages. You can't even threaten a nigga on YouTube for these niggas go get the white man. But yet these niggas talk that war shit on a Sinetta police platform. And I say it's a police platform because it was the center of attention of conscious information at one time. Therefore, the police is listening. The same way they got the hip hop police listening to all these rap songs so they can figure out the fuck is going on. They got the conscious police listening to these channels. But they ain't got time to watch all the channels like y'all do. So they got to focus in on the bigger channels and the bigger names and kind of see what the fuck is going on. I'm sure they get disgusted listening to this shit all day. Nigga shit. It's to the point the police don't even listen no more. Oh, man, these niggas ain't even talking about nothing no more. Because they can realize that you're not really organizing. You don't have a real movement of it. Your best guy is Umar, and he fucking everything moving. So they ain't worried about him. When they ready to get rid of him, they just got to go get a nasty chick with a pretty face and a fat ass, and he's out of here. As soon as he see her. Y'all better watch The Economic Hitman. So now Coakley is focusing in on the moment when this NAACP, Niagara movement / Renaissance era / literary arts / political activists side of the board. The ones that would inherit the so-called positions of Black wealth today, they follow the same narrative and be as fooled now as they was then, as they was in slavery. You always had this kind of mentality. You can look at South Africa today and listen to the president of the ANC speak and beg the white folks for trillions of dollars. And then you can listen to Julius Malema speak. He's the Garvey of their era. Julius Malema is the Booker T of their era. And then you got the other side. The other side is the Jesse Jacksons of this era. The other side is the W.B. Du Boises of this era. White folks will play you off each other. The only thing they can't stop is the general public. If the general public gets a specific thought in their brain, there's nothing that can stop that except propaganda over time. This is why Malema came out with strong propaganda, bold statements. We're going to take the land with no compensation. But because he's a politician, he backed up and he went into the parliament, formulating a political party. Now, Booker T said, let me read the quote. Because, you know, I keep all this shit at fingertips because I've been doing this shit so long. It ain't nothing to go grab the quote. I keeps all this shit on my fingertips. Booker T says, leaders have devoted themselves to politics, little knowing it seems that political independence disappears without economic independence. That economic independence is the foundation of political independence. So what is this current circumstance in South Africa? Currently, political independence was handed over to Mandela under one condition. Mandela goes away from his narrative, divorces his wife's radicalism, and joins forces with white capitalists and allow the white folks to continue to control economic independence in South Africa. And they will hand over political independence. And that's what they got 21 years ago. So currently, they're lacking social independence and economic independence. And this EFF, Economic Freedom Fighters, that put on the red, black, and green for nationalism, came with a socialist state operation strategically aimed at the economic foundation of the country, which will be the farming and the diamonds and the oil and the goddamn minerals in the ground. They want to control that part. Now, according to all states and nations, all that stuff is controlled by government. Some countries like America, they'll give you that, but it will be highly supervised by the government if they let you control something. But currently we have a semi-socialist state of our own. as the government controls the waterworks. Government controls trash. Government controls lots of departments in our country. Now, in South Africa, black folks are the majority of politics. And so the black folks with the doublespeak passed the law previously that said willing buyer, willing seller. That'll be the law when it comes to land. And the white folks said, sure, we don't want to sell. Now, because the white folks don't want to sell any of the assets of the country, even if Julius Malema goes out and gets $80 trillion, when he get home, ain't nobody selling. So now he's left with a conundrum. Even if I get money, you motherfuckers won't sell. Now he's talking to black politicians. He's talking to the South African boule. But they work for white folks. They are the Grecian Sphinx with the palm over the urn with the names of the masters in it that shall not be known. I don't know who taught Julius this flow. He learned a little bit from Mandela, a little bit from Steve Biko and other champions, a little bit from Cuba and the leaders over there, and China and Russia and America, and he paying attention. And he realizes that this boule black folks, they not his enemy. They just puppets. His enemy is white multicultural capitalists that control the wealth in his country and all the land. They are 6 to 10% of the population and control 80% of the wealth. 3 people in South Africa got more money than all the blacks combined. 3 people. Put up against them types of odds. Put up against them type of goddamn odds. You can't have no fake ass leader on the mic that want to talk about some shit. This is why he went into the parliament. Because up in there, they pass laws. They ain't just talking to be talking at a convention. They passing laws. But just passing the law and not having people who are willing to enforce the law is like not having a law at all. So he gonna go in proper order. First, he's gonna pass the law. Then he's gonna become the enforcer when he becomes the president. This is when the gangster shit gonna go down. This is when M6, the CIA, the FBI, all that shit about to step up. What the fuck are we gonna do? They got a hell of a motherfucking job on their hands, being the first black nation on the planet Earth since colonialism and slavery to take control of a nation politically, economically, and socially. It ain't never been done. Ever. On the planet Earth. Nowhere. Since colonial times. White folks done put the black plague on your ass. This is why everybody in America knows they're economic slaves. And at any time, white folks can come seize your home, eminent domain, and tell your ass, get your shit and go. We need this. And your ass would pack your shit up. All that crying and shit, you could do it while you're walking. Eminent domain. You don't own nothing. Have nothing. You're an economic slave. Only reason they don't come get your shit is because they don't want your shit. That's it. That's the only reason you walking around with some shit. But at any given moment, they knock on that door and hand you a paper that say, we're coming to take your shit by eminent domain. You might as well just start crying because they about to take your shit, seize your accounts, and it's over. That's what you're living under. Now, Julius Malemi first got to deal with his South African boule. And he done pretty much convinced them. Don't get caught on camera disagreeing with us. Because if you do, if you don't pass this law, we're going to take the land by force and die trying. They was like, you know what? Get this nigga the land. They passed the law. Now we're going to get into office in South Africa. And he's going to put a Garvey-style mentality in the presidency. Now, and you're going to use a socialist tactic to seize the minerals of South Africa. And once he got that, he got a shit on his hands because the demons is coming. Now, you conscious niggas can prove that a bunch of Christians gonna go over there, a bunch of white Christians. See, they got the Zoolanders out now calling themselves Christians. Till you hear their rhetoric, and their rhetoric don't match up with the Bible. See, because that's what satanic minds do. They place blame on innocent shit. That's what the satanic mind does. A deceptive mind will place blame on shit that ain't even guilty. And it'll make it guilty. So the Zoolanders are claiming to be Christians because they read a Bible that they don't understand, nor do they follow. And they don't want to admit that somewhere down the line, back in the day, a grandfather of theirs took this land by force. And that currently today, white multi-capitalists who don't even live in the country don't want to sell none of the land to Africans. And so, once it's law, they have to obey. But he got a plan because he ain't as ridiculously dumb as these niggas that be talking to us out here in America, talking about black power shit. Always a dumbass conversation. All the nigga want to do is get on to talk about Trump. Nigga, Trump ain't running shit but Trump. But they focus on that because that's the narrative of how this shit work. Misdirection. Instead of saying, well, let's go formulate a party and go up inside the parliament or the Senate and change the laws. They can't do it because white folks in America are the dominant force and they'll never vote your ass in, ever. And the only ones that can come in is Boule. This is where we back to Steve Coakley, explaining that the Alpha and the Delta claim to be the majority of the lawyers, the majority of the politicians that are black are these niggas. But you niggas claiming is Christians. And I'm sure some of them claim to be Christians. But you make it as though the Bible itself has instructed them to sell you out. or the Bible itself is instructing white folks to enslave you. That's what y'all claiming. This is how fucking ridiculous you niggas sound. And y'all believe this shit. And the people that follow you believe that shit. And then you say, give me the verse where the Bible, I don't give a fuck if a white man wrote this book. Give me the verse instructing its followers to do what the fuck they're doing. That's when them niggas get the double dutching, backsliding and stutter stepping, crip walking and juke janking, electric boogaloo. They doing all type of shit because they can't go get that verse out that book that state that a Christian can enslave anybody on the planet. They can't get you that verse. I don't give a fuck who wrote the book. I don't give a fuck if the book is true or not. Go get the verse. They can't get the verse. Because the end game is this. They are running deception osmosisly through pre-programming of a talented 10th group trained by white folks. They don't even know what they're doing. And so when the real come into the field and start cracking eggs on their head, they just get mad as fuck. Because I'm fucking up the hustle. The same way Steve Coakley started fucking up the hustle. The difference is these niggas don't think they boule because they never really been to school and applied and initiated to the groups, but they got the training of the boule without joining the boule. They got the mindset of the integrationists, and they done flipped it and start calling it black power. James Brown sung a song, I'm Black and I'm Proud, while he pushed integration on stage for the integrationists, for the goddamn black power, Black Panthers. I try to tell these niggas that the movie Wakanda, the Black Panther movie Wakanda, was straight socialism. Integration to the fullest. And these niggas be posting it. That shit made $1 billion. Yes, because that's the fucking message white folks is willing to promote. Integration, nigga. That bullshit. Push that 60s black power shit on these niggas and let them walk around in outfits thinking they gods because they still gonna go to the hood to go to sleep. They still gonna go to low-paying jobs. They still gonna eat second-rate food. Let them think they gods. That might calm their punk ass down. To think that they're gods means that why you mad, God? If you God, nigga, you supreme. And so you ain't got no reason to be upset about a goddamn thing because you God. And these niggas claim to be God. And then when you try to tell them, look, bro, in every major battle since the gospel was written and spoken aloud, only time evil was defeated is when it was being fought against by members of the church. Oh my gosh. The first pioneers were the disciples. They taught the Kemites. The Kemites then became the Coptics and fought the Romans until they turned the Romans and shut down Greek philosophy in Kemet. Shut that shit down. And shut down Kemetic mythology with it. And then the Ethiopians got in on it, created the Ethiopic Church. And guess who wasn't rolling with it? The Somalians. They didn't want to join. So the Ethiopians beat up on the Somalians, and they got the whole Ethiopian-Somalian wars. You can go read about it. Then the white folks, after getting brutally beat up by Christians, decided to become Christians by name, because they have to weaken it. So they became it, and then they added all that pagan shit to it. Called it the Byzantine era. Then they start marching on everybody, claiming to be Christians, killing like a motherfucker. And because the Byzantines were not Christians, just wolves in sheep's clothing, the Jews' identity was captured by the Ashkenazi. And the Ashkenazis, they was already outcasted from white folks. They didn't really have nowhere to be. So because the Jews was destroyed in 70 AD and they ain't around the rep, they took their identity. In the book, The 13th Tribe, this all get broke down in that book. Let's take it from that book. And so somewhere along the lines, somebody taught, let me go get this name. I got to go pull up something because okay. Zoroastrianism. Mazda Asna. Zoroastrianism. These were Arabs in the desert. No Islam. No Ali Muhammad's. No Farrakhan's. No Elijah's. Zoroastrianism was the idea. In the desert. Somebody taught their ass, not the Gospels, but more focused on Old Testament Bible. And made sure that these Zoroastrianism people wouldn't click up with Christians, because currently at that time for them, when they seen a Christian, they seen these white Christian, Byzantine Christians coming, and that shit wasn't real, what they pushing. So they rewrote the story, and the birth of Islam hit the planet with their own prophet, their own book, slightly like the Torah, slightly like the gospel, but nothing like the Byzantines. And once you have a spiritual system for a group of people, it becomes like law, and it allows functionality in the community to operate swiftly. And so Islam quickly grew and spread everywhere. And what did they do? They started smashing on Africans who did not belong to Christianity and flipped them, turned them into Muslims, and enslaved them. Once again, slavery is in the picture on some Africans who ain't. Guess who didn't get enslaved? The Ethiopians and the Kemites. That Islamic shit took years to enter into Egypt. Took years to get close to Ethiopia because them places was guarded. And when you do the real history, not listening to these niggas who want to take you all the way back to Amun-Ra and don't want to speak about this era, they don't want to have to answer any of these questions. Where in the fuck is Amun-Ra at? He ain't nowhere. He buried up under a pyramid somewhere because he ain't in these stories. And the Kemetic reconstruction hasn't been reconstructed yet. So they don't have a story. End of story. And the only story that's on the planet putting in work is Christianity. Judaism is still working as an ideology. And Islam on the move. And they all share the same prophets. But Ifa, where they at? Yoruba, where you at? You there in the forest collecting berries, something. But you ain't stepping up. You're not modernizing yourselves. You still living in ancient culture. Super ancient culture. And before long, white folks go into a era where they just run into the Black Death. They get knocked out the picture. And while they're knocked out the picture, Timbuktu is prospering. Black folks in Africa prospering. Ain't no white folks around smashing on them. Islam don't want to go beyond the desert. Kingdoms are forming, but they forming slow. Because up there where the white folks is dying of the Black Death, inventions are being created. For long, they create a cannon, gunpowder, and they on their way with ships coming to get these niggas on the good ship Jesus, coming to get you niggas. And the niggas they coming to get, a little bit of everybody. And they gonna take them over to America with some more niggas over there that want to call themselves aboriginals. And they ain't developing they goddamn selves either. When they get off the boat, they still got spears and these niggas got guns. Fuck is you gonna do with a spear against a gun sitting there with your bullshit? The modern man is here. And so he put these worker bees that they call slaves into plantations and forced them to follow their religion if they wasn't already following it. They about to. And that religion changed the world, created the African American, created the Nat Turners and the Harriet Tubmans and the Booker T's and the Michael Jacksons and the Oprah Winfreys and the Bill Cosbys and the Martin Luther Kings and Pitt Boss, bitch. And we way more advanced than any one of these other religions on the planet. And we've been more advanced since the day we got here. We create Black Wall Street, and it's superior to anything else on the planet at the time of its existence. And the Bible was the foundation. Now, this is about to be replicated in South Africa while we sit around this motherfucker making up stories, picking and choosing which kind of ideology we want to follow, and not realizing, nigga, you have been bamboozled. You following the boule, and the talented 10th is running the program for the white man on you. While you sit here trying to down like the realest shit on YouTube. Let's let Steve Coakley finish knocking out the box.
We use the Pittsburgh Courier, Chicago Defender, the Afro-American in Baltimore and Washington. All of these are Boule families, the advisors to the king, this group. So when Marcus Garvey came, whites began to think that maybe assimilation is better. Maybe we can escalate. Let's not let these go. Maybe they don't seem too pissed off about all of this. Maybe they'll forgive these things we did to their ancestors, and maybe we can trick them, have a little, want some more. Maybe. So as Garvey began to move, they began to see that a Harlem Renaissance could have been necessary, that they could then attract Africans in America into literature and science and the arts and poetry. And when he said back to Africa, he's trying to get to Liberia. So R.R. Moulton, who was a big Boule man from Tuskegee University, who replaced Booker T. Washington.
R.R. Moulton, a Boule man, a fucking special force guy. They kill off Booker T, and none of his men around him can take his position. The Boule then took over Tuskegee in 1915. Garvey ain't even on the planet in America yet. He ain't even got off the banana boat yet. And they done killed Booker T and put R.R. Moulton, a Boule nigga, about to take over the science, the technology, the engineering, and the mathematics and put it into that shit for black people. And give you some of this literary arts. And they transformed Tuskegee College, Technical Institute, and turned that shit into a medical university. And all the progress died. It just started going downhill. And ever since, Boule niggas been in control of all learning institutions, and you niggas claiming that the Bible got you fucked up. But you could just go ahead and erase what the fuck Steve Coakley talking about, because y'all got to push the narrative. You got to keep claiming that the Bible got us fucked up in sleep. What about the Boule, nigga? What about the talented 10th, nigga? What about the fucked up laws, nigga? What about the sellout lawyers, nigga? What about that part?
R.R. Moulton became a spy for the U.S. government to coordinate the program against Marcus Garvey in America. We have declassified documents that came out in 1993. The Memphis Commercial Appeal did the story about Martin King, Kwame Ture. A lot of things came out about spying. Well, in that, which did not make the public press, when we actually filed for the documents, there was R.R. Moulton telling Von Demon and military intelligence, don't tell anyone what I'm going to tell you about what Marcus Garvey said last night in Harlem, you know, and the letters marked confidential. And of course, eventually, R.R. Moulton, who went to Liberia, was given $5 million to form a committee to keep Marcus Garvey out of Liberia. He never made it. He wanted to get there bad. They put $5 million in 1919. Man, this is 50 million, 100 million today. And
so R.R. Moulton takes over Tuskegee when Booker T dies, and in 3 years, by 1919, he in Liberia formulating a plan to keep Garvey out. And he boule. But you niggas claim the Bible got us fucked up. And y'all gonna stick to your guns on that shit. Mind you, this is 1919, nigga. Ain't no Islam. It might be some Sunni running around, little caravans. Ain't no Moors, ain't no Aboriginal movement. You either an atheist or a Christian. And these is your motherfucking atheists. R.R. Moulton ain't no motherfucking Christian. He working for the white man to knock out Booker T. I mean, to knock out Garvey. Now, this ain't me speaking on this one. This Steve Coakley, and it ain't none of y'all niggas about to argue with Steve Coakley. That's your man. You Kemetic niggas fuck with Steve Coakley. You Christian niggas fuck with Steve Coakley. You Moorish niggas fuck with Steve Coakley. Steve Coakley was pretty much liked all across the board except by the boule. They don't fuck with Steve Coakley.
Conceivable. And they rewarded R.R. Moulton for trying to undermine Marcus Garvey. He got the first, check this deep, he got the first Black veterans hospital in the United States at Tuskegee. And then what did they give him for reward? Syphilis. You see the reward? Yeah, see, he got something. No bad. But what they got was bad, what they gave him,
So let me ask you, so in essence,
they gave him the Veterans Hospital. The syphilis scandal came out of that. They transformed the Technical Institute into a university, switching up the program as they was trained to do. All the Kemetic centric niggas' education is literary arts. They come straight off this motherfucking chain of command. The whole motherfucking movement is talking history. For 50 fucking years, we gotta listen to these niggas talk about history. No plan of fucking action, no economic revival, just history. Sinetta picked up the blueprint for Black Power by Amos Wilson, talking about this some real shit. I said, nigga, you never read the book. You just holding up the cover, nigga. Open it and go to a page and read, nigga. Let's hear what the fuck's in the book that got you all. And the book looked brand fucking new. Like he ain't never opened this motherfucker up. Because if you go read Amos Wilson's blueprint of Black Power, you will realize it ain't a blueprint he wrote. He's given a survey on blueprints that exist. He didn't write near one of his thoughts as this is the blueprint. He examining ideas that exist and coming to a conclusion of what sounds the best. And Booker T name in that book about 100 times. But there ain't no real movement with this fuckboy shit these niggas in America coming with. The Aboriginal movement is some bullshit. The Moorish movement, that's some bullshit. The Nation of Islam, that's some more bullshit. Them ain't movements. They ain't about to move a motherfucking thing. With that, it just sounds good. And you niggas need something that sound good because you ain't got nothing. So give me something that sound good. And I know you niggas mad because I gotta give you this shit straight down your motherfucking windpipe. That's why I have South Africa as my motherfucking example of what the fuck some real shit sound like. Because y'all can't take the real shit. Y'all won't even talk about no real shit. I want y'all all that's listening, the 3 motherfuckers listening to me right now, to understand before the end of this year, them niggas gonna be talking about it like they just, this is what's cracking. They gonna be forced to talk about it because I'm gonna keep drilling it because the story just gonna get bigger and motherfucking bigger until CNN. They ain't gonna talk about it till CNN talk about it. Somebody called me talking about, oh, you know, Dr. Esau said something about Winnie Mandela. Nigga, on her funeral. But nigga didn't go into the science because he don't know this shit yet. He's still on the fraudulent black power that they running. Talking about economics. You niggas don't know no economics because you passing up Booker T. If we ain't gonna go back to the basic bottom and work our way back to the top, y'all gonna miss the most important motherfucking information. If you're gonna build a school that's gonna educate a nation, and you don't know what the fuck Booker T was over there doing, why the fuck do you think Garvey went to Tuskegee? Was on his way to Tuskegee, nigga. He wasn't on his way to Fisk. But you niggas don't like the truth because you have to uphold your leader that you're following. If you are more, all the fuck you want to talk about is Noble Drew Ali. He ain't did a motherfucking thing. That's current, that's cracking, nothing. He just got you niggas. That's it. He left you niggas, and you niggas is a mess. Nation of Islam, same shit. They walk around with some bow ties. They didn't change some niggas' lives. But we talking about a movement that's going to push the black people in America to a higher level of standard among these white folks. Nothing coming out of that. And the movement that was effective, you niggas turned that and said this nigga's a coon. Y'all niggas told me Booker T was a coon. I just looked at you and said, nigga, you a coon. And I'm gonna go get a STEM education, motherfucker, while you sit back broke as crying ass Reggie. That nigga was on the call today. So I had to tell the nigga, let's go down to DC and fuck with Malik Zulu and them. That nigga told Sonetta, nigga, I'm broke. Bitch, that's because you spent all your days studying the Metcha Netcha, nigga, and ain't nothing paying for that. This nigga could go get an easy electrician's certificate, nigga, and go make some money. But nah, he wanna pontificate the history of Kemet forever and be broke as a motherfucker. Back in the day, we called them poor righteous teachers. Now we call them dumbass niggas that ain't teaching a motherfucking thing. Sinetta, the only nigga got some bread because he don't give a fuck about consciousness. This nigga is a pimp. Didn't you see the Gators? Didn't you see the pimp hat? Don't you gotta suck his dick to get on? That's a pimp, nigga. Fuck is you talking about? He got a pocket full of money, cash, credit fucked up. That's a pimp. pushing pimpology. But because I said, I get a weak YouTube nigga come tell me, Pitt, why are you mad? Why are you mad, Pitt? Why are you angry? Looking at this little nigga like, what? Nigga, what? Nigga, you don't want to see me when I'm angry, nigga. I'd have been shot this motherfucker up if I was angry, nigga. I'm aggressive. It's a difference. I just knew that they not gonna like me. Motherfuckers hate to be, the woke niggas hate to be awoken. For real, for real. So every time I come across the others on this Afrocentristic shit, it's the same fucking pattern. One, they don't know what the fuck they talking about. They're gonna deny history all the fuck to the grave and die broke as a motherfucker around this motherfucker. And they don't want to know how to solve it. They don't want to know. I got a motherfucker talking about she's studying serpent spiritual worshiping to get rid of a cancer tumor on some yoga shit, breathing techniques. I looked at this motherfucker and said, nigga, when you die, I'm gonna put a snake on your motherfucking grave. Cause you about dumb as a motherfucker. I'm not saying it can't help the mental, little breathing, little yoga, anything. Give me anything. But nigga, the serpent spirit ritual, that's what you gonna bank on? Nigga, I wrote a book on this shit, trying to do lectures for a living. Because this information is gonna have you fucked up if you believe that shit to the grave. So I'm gonna tell y'all this. If Julius Malema becomes that president, takes over that land, you are going to see an explosion of STEM education quickly to the people of South Africa. They don't need to know the ancient rituals of Kemet. They don't give a fuck about no mention. They need to learn how in the fuck do you pull water out the ground? How do you actually build a house? How do you wire this shit up? How do I fucking pave a road around this motherfucker? They gonna need a technical skill to build a nation. And they lack that. So Julius Malema said, listen, white folks, we gonna take back the land and then we gonna allow you to come back in and work it again and be a second-class citizen. You're gonna be the white boule for us, and we're gonna give you back your jobs, and you motherfuckers help us build this country. If they don't help him, he said he gonna go all the fuck away around the world and see if anybody want to come help him. Once the white folks be like, fuck you, you fucked me out my grandfather's stolen land, fuck you, and they take their ass over to Australia, he gonna be on the hunt. Do you think he gonna come to America looking for these Kemitic scholar motherfuckers, a couple of you Egyptian hocus pocus niggas to help him build something? Fuck no. He gonna be at MIT, Tuskegee College, every motherfucking technical institute in this motherfucker, trying to find out who the fuck knows how to build a city. This is the problem with the knowledge being taught around black folks in this fucked up country. Y'all niggas don't want no real shit. Y'all niggas too entertained by the bullshit. That shit sound good until the niggas start asking you serious questions. Be like, you own a house or you live in an apartment in Harlem? You got a brand new Benz or a used Benz? I just fuck with Sonetta. He's my dummy tool, so I always say Sonetta. He represents the conscious community. But this goes out to all you niggas. While my little bitty channel, I'm like, yo, y'all, real shit is get your fucking credit together. Real shit, nigga, is get on the latest shit. Get on this Bitcoin. Real shit is, nigga, let's buy a city. And let's start the production. Concepts to building real motherfucking wealth in America under current circumstances. Guess what the Christians are doing in America? They go into middle-class jobs. They work at the bank. They work at the credit. They work at the airport. They work in the law offices. They're part of the boule. What they don't do is get on YouTube and start doing no nigga shit. What they don't do is get to talking about fuck the crack of this, fuck the crack of that. They don't do that part. They go formulate activism groups. And they got little fucked up issues that they like to come out and talk about. But that's the sleep Christians, you know, that y'all refer to. They don't know no better because they not under the same stress as the conscious community. They got bread. They got 401ks, health insurance. You niggas is lacking health insurance. While you black powering all motherfucking day. Ain't got no health insurance. You not taking advantage of the system that's there. You want to create a Wakanda in the ghetto under your own auspices that you know serpent power magic. And if white folks fuck with you, you'll go get niggas some sulfur and some hot sauce and mix it in a jar and blow it on their ass, and that's supposed to get rid of them. While real Africans, the real ones in South Africa, they in the fucking parliament, nigga, digging in the scene with a gangster lean, with a real fucking mission. Now, I don't know if they're gonna be successful because the white man fight back. Nigga, he ain't scared of shit. Nothing. But God, he's scared of that. You don't believe me? You don't believe me? You will never hear a white person bash the Bible from a high-level platform like these niggas do. Because they will crush his motherfucking ass instantly. That just ain't, that don't make no sense to white. Don't do that. Don't piss them off. They love God. Don't do that. They'll die for that shit. Trust me. So you'll never hear Bush, Trump, Obama. It don't matter if they believe the Bible or a white person wrote it. They ain't gonna bash that shit. That shit got power behind it. But that other shit, Trump would be like, you niggas from a trash country. A third world. When he say third world, he talking about niggas that don't follow the Bible by majority. They on some poor the motherfucker on some natural shit. Y'all hate this though, right? Pitt boss is being a hater because I'm gonna say it like it is. Because the people who come to my channel, they want to be entertained with some real shit. They don't want to just sit and listen to the callers call in on the Sinetta network. And no matter what the fuck they talking about, somehow they got to diss the Christians. As though that's really the fucking problem. When the reality is, it's you disgusting ass niggas with no moral value, with no biblical moral value, who is the worst motherfucker walking. But then when y'all want to be intellectual, somewhere along the line, your punk ass roll a Bible quote out your mouth. I don't believe in that Bible, but nigga, in Psalms 31:31, thus says the Lord, and you'll roll some shit off for one verse because it makes sense to your concept at the moment. But the reality is all the gangster shit that went down for black folks that had any kind of motherfucking effect was led by somebody who believed in the Bible. That's why y'all don't really talk about Harriet Tubman. Unless y'all want to twist her into one of the ancestors and say she was invoking the motherfucking Orishas and somehow figure out how you could twist that, turn that into your shit. And don't be talking about, well, you know, I'm a Moor and we wasn't really, you know, we didn't get our prophet, nigga, till the 30s. Well, nigga, it's the 2018. You had 80 years to produce something. What the fuck have y'all done? At least the Nation of Islam said, nigga, we gave you Malcolm X, we gave you Farrakhan, we gave you Elijah, and we also gave you Khalid. And I'll be like, and what they do? Nigga, they did speeches, nigga. Fuck is you talking about what they did? Nigga, you didn't hear the speech? Yeah, I heard the speech. That was powerful. Powerful motherfucking speech. Didn't power a motherfucking thing around here. It was just a speech. And when he was done talking, it was over. But it was powerful though. It just wasn't powerful enough to power a motherfucking thing around here. That's the honest motherfucking truth. I love him like you do. I love me some Noble Drew Ali. I love me some Elijah Muhammad and some Farrakhan's and the Khalids, and I love that shit. When it come to nigga pep rallies, go get them niggas. If we gonna have a pep rally, go get your motherfucking heroes, nigga. But if we gonna get the warring around this motherfucker, nigga, bring me Nat Turner, nigga. I don't want no pep rally. I want a motherfucker ready to do it around this motherfucker. If we gonna build a motherfucking city, don't bring me no motherfucking Noble Drew. Nigga, go get me Booker T, nigga. We gonna build some shit because you niggas don't know how to build a motherfucking thing around here. But y'all don't like when I give it to you. Because Pitt Boss don't put no sugar on it like Jabari do. My shit too real. My shit is not the Nibba channel. My shit ain't the conscious community channel. My shit is the hard motherfucking truth. Now let me back that up with some Steve Coakley.
What you're saying is that the boule represents the buffer class, the petit bourgeois, the comprador buffer class that manages Africa's workers, peasants, students, and middle class in many ways, and are paid well for that. And they receive their direct orders from the European capitalist class.
Yes, if you would look to today, where boule members like Vernon Jordan, who is managing director of Goldman Sachs, he took Bill Clinton to his first Bilderberger meeting in 1971. The black man took the white man from Arkansas to the big international meeting. Mm-hmm. Vernon Jordan, former head of the Urban League, who groomed Ron Brown, who then went on to become Secretary of Commerce, killed in a plane crash, murdered.
Okay, Vernon Jordan. This nigga's in the White House. This nigga was behind the scenes of a whole lot of shit. The Urban League. That's some of that boule shit. That's the shit you niggas depend on when two black dudes get nigga cussed out at a Starbucks. You looking for the NAACP to show up, nigga, and do something. You want Black Lives Matter to come around this motherfucker. That's all boule. That's all, nigga, NAACP. That's all that bullshit. That ain't no motherfucking economic freedom fighters, motherfucker. That ain't the real shit. Now, I'm just using South Africa because it's going down in real motherfucking time. It's really going down. And it's a hard motherfucking fight. And he gonna be the first motherfucker to attempt it. And he got a motherfucking problem on his hand. If he can even get close. And I don't think y'all understand how real it is. I don't think y'all really understand. I'm going to give you a little bit of it, though, try to make you understand. Put it in context and blend it all together in a gumbo pot and do what can't none of these niggas do. Freestyle off the dome. And still, when you speak this shit, it fall right in line with the shit you've been saying the whole time you've been on this shit. I came right in the door with one narrative. Ain't left that narrative yet, and all the real shit connect to my shit.
Rejected all groups and parties. They never said this is the party that was having them. Food and matters. No one can claim an authority.
Let me grab another video because he's in a big ass room.
When they're doing it.
And it's gonna be hard to understand.
Find time and meet and engage further on these issues we disagree on here in Parliament. We are not enemies. President Zuma wanted to create, an environment of enemies and create an impression that we're actually personally fighting, but only to realize that it's not about personal issues, about differences on the direction the country should take.
How do we sustain this?
Well, we are the thinking tank of this country. Proper superior ideas come from this organization. And that's how we contribute to the development of South Africa. If you take the land expropriation, for instance, it has been championed by the EFF. If you take free education, for instance, it has been championed by the EFF. If you take a minimum wage, for instance, it has been championed by the EFF. Now we are championing quality public health care. We had demonstrations yesterday. You can be rest assured that everyone else is going to pay the necessary attention now on public health. We are at the center of demanding that the economy should be transformed and should be inclusive of our people, and we should create more jobs and fight corruption. So we are not just redundant. We are leading through our ideas, through occupying the picket lines, through taking the shenanigans to court, and through engagement in Parliament by ensuring that right things are done. Yeah.
Okay, now if you're listening to him, he's saying, look, we want free education. We got that in America. They want better health care. Free better health care. We don't got that yet. That's socialism, though, when the government controls the means of production. We'll take that. You guys are socialists. We'll take that. But here's the difference. He's doing this in a country where the politics is black. We're doing this in a country where the politics is white. And if we let the white folks give us a veterans hospital, they'll put syphilis in that motherfucker as a test, use you as a test dummy. You cannot trust this government in America to lead you. You have to formulate your own shit. And you'll never do that with the current narrative of the boule and the 10 percenters. You'll never do that. So since that's far off from ever having another Garvey type movement, you got to get your money right. It's mandatory that you get some wealth around this motherfucker. At least the next generation, your kids, if you can't do it, put them on the right track. But they need to understand you got to have a skill to go along with that intellectualisms that you're going to be doing, pontificating about ancient African shit that they don't give a fuck about you. All this Wakanda shit is fantasy. So when you take the ideas that's going on currently and match them up, it's easy to see. It should be easy to see. The niggas in America are just looking for the next rap album. Niggas in America want to picket Starbucks. Motherfucker, I'm going to Starbucks tomorrow. Fuck them niggas. They should have bought a cup of coffee up in that motherfucker. I ain't got time to be picketing white establishments in America. That ain't gonna do shit. This ain't 1960s Martin Luther King. He didn't shut shit down. He compromised. But y'all tell me Booker T compromised. He was the compromiser. Because y'all have to live in that talented 10th narrative that they've programmed your ass with. All of them was atheists. All of them. All the heads of every fucking group is a fucking atheist. Damn near every lawyer is a motherfucking atheist. Top ones for sure. But the top of every one of these motherfucking groups don't believe in no Bible. Because the Bible would compel you to be a Nat Turner. The Bible would compel you to be a Booker T. The Bible would compare you to be a Garvey. If you was the real deal and you was up at the top, you'd be forced to be a gangster around this motherfucker for God. But y'all don't want to hear that. You want to hear, no. I'm going to go get down with the red, black, and green Kemetic shit, and we going to march on Starbucks around this motherfucker. We going to go march on Walmart. They ain't hiring black people. Y'all don't want me to kill you out with it, do you? Y'all don't want it this hard. Let me let Steve Coakley give it to you a little softer.
Because boule are considered domestic. Martin King was boule. Look at the relationship between...
Oh, man, don't do him like that. Coakley? Martin Luther King? That was the Black Panthers' hero. Don't tell me he was boule. Martin Luther King? They got a Martin Luther King Street. I'm in Atlanta. Down the street from his house. Don't do me like that, Coakley.
Martin and Kwame over going against the war. You don't hear anybody in the African-centered community primarily against the war. Mm-hmm. They're basically accepting it or looking for what they try to get when.
This is Steve Coakley explaining that the African-centric community is not hoorah against the war. He got the guest, the host, a little fucked up. Watch how the host try to clarify it, and then watch how Steve Coakley just punch him again. And nigga, you heard what I said.
Whites are passing out things like, you know, a grant here, this or that. They don't appear to be focused on that money that's being wasted, those billions of dollars.
You say African community
African
support the war?
They are not. No. I'm just saying they are not pushing against the war. Yeah. Same way Martin King, when April 4th of 67, you're right. 1 year before he was killed to the day, when he came out of Riverside Church with Kwame in a certain time in the front row, waiting to hear, because he calls it, you got to hear this. He comes out against the war. Boule men are told to be domestic, not international. Mickey Leland was Sigma Pi Phi. He tried to stop a starvation going on in Ethiopia, Somalia. His plane crashes into the mountain. Congressman from Texas.
Coakley just said, Boule men are trained to be domestic when it comes to topics. Don't go talking about no international shit. So therefore, the narrative is in nobody's motherfucking mouth. I need to hear these so-called nigga leaders y'all got talk about some international shit right now. Where they at? When they gonna get to speaking on it? Because this shit's 20 years old, and Steve Coakley is telling me that these Boule niggas is hush-hush on international shit. All this local domestic shit, they can get loud as they want. Let's see what happens.
Ron Brown, Martin King, no question. Martin King became international, and that became his biggest sin. He was financed by some of the greatest foundations America ever had to offer. But if they get beyond the defined limit, then there's trouble.
In terms of young people today on college campuses who want to join fraternities and sororities, what is your advice?
It's interesting. The movie Stomp the Yard. I thought that was an interesting attempt to try to reconstruct the options, because they are catching hell in the streets. There is a rise of Kemetic-centered, African-centered societies that are repudiations of Greeks. And this is on the rise on many of the campuses around the country.
Oh, shit. Shit. He fucking y'all niggas up. This one of your own. This nigga said, it's a rise. This is in the 90s, early 90s. It's a rise of Kemetic concepts formulating in the colleges, repudiating in the colleges. This is before you niggas showed up. Steve Coakley telling on you niggas before you show up.
Those fraternities and sororities, like the American military, were finding reduced numbers, questions of hazing and brutality. And see, that's an important thing about a secret society, is the initiation or the ritual, which is an act of submission. I would never want anyone to underestimate when someone goes on that line and they beat them or they make them do things or unusual things or ridicule them, that act is an act of submission. And that's very essential to keeping a secret society in order. How do you command that subordination? And so for today, when they're on the campuses, they see the Boule. If you look to the Boule Journal, you can look up sigmapi5.net. You can hit up my website, stevecoakley.com, and then you can link into their website. You look at their Boule Journal, you see what they play up there, the head of everything. They're announcing every key position they have. They're the advisor to every person, every corporation. They're the black head of American Express. You know, we can just walk on down the line of those that roles were there.
The head of Starbucks is a black lady from the AKA. She's the top COO. But this is 20 years ago, this particular clip. And the shit he talking about then is what the fuck's going on now, is what the fuck went on 100 years ago. So who in the fuck is these conscious niggas for real, for real? Because if Steve Coakley was here now and he had to break down all this crazy shit going on, y'all niggas would be in trouble. Because you so easily to be read. But we gonna go back 20 years ago before you niggas existed, before you niggas was programmed through your motherfucking grandfathers in the boule. You never made it to the boule because y'all niggas didn't go to school. So you just got a watered down version of the program. Steve Coakley is digging in y'all ass right now.
And only theirs. No one got past. You know, I noticed that Harold Washington, our black mayors were uniquely boule. Andy Young when he was Atlanta, Dinkins when he was New York, Bradley when he was Los Angeles. But none of those men were able to groom their man. Mm-hmm. So Bradley was mayor 20 years, but didn't have Bradley too. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. You know, Dinkins couldn't turn it over to anybody. Them white folk walked and beat on his door to run him out. Different cities. Detroit, Coleman Young was not a boule member. Mm-hmm. Harold Washington was not a boule member. Mm-hmm. And the relationship between the white financial firms and Harold Washington was uniquely different than it was with men who were more trusted.
Brother Steve.
Yeah, it just made me think about something we had talked about. You know, as a young brother in Chicago, really wanting to get involved in the movement. When I came back from college, there were various options was in Chicago, and you know, the black politics at 75 was still dominated by Mayor Daley, Ralph Metcalf, who was the first person to break away, whose assistant was Harold Washington, who eventually became the mayor. That first congressional district, which Bobby Rush, former Black Panther, is the congressman in now. That district, we had Hakeem Mahabuti there. Bobby Wright was on the west side. The NAACP, the Urban League.
Elijah Muhammad.
Yeah, I was going to say, the minister actually came to Chicago just a couple of years later when Elijah Muhammad died, and he was brought in from New York and then stripped by Wallace D. And he stayed in Chicago. With that period of coming back, there was not a lot of things to get involved in. As I'm scratching, I have found a book, none dare call it Conspiracy. It's a white, right-wing kind of guy book. Right. And it says sometimes some things about us are communists or something. But I looked through that and I saw relationships with General Electric and Exxon Mobil. And I looked at all, and these relationships I started to research. It wasn't until I found them in Chicago that Chicago accepted what I was trying to say. We used to have one radio show came on WJPC, Johnson Publishing, who is Boule, Ebony Jet, etc. And Vernon Jarrett was the host of the show, who I didn't know was head of the Boule at that time, Chicago Tribune columnist, started AXO for the NAACP. And one day I called in and I was trying to explain some of this stuff, and he cut me off. He said, "We're not going to have any of that." I didn't know he was Boule. When I ended up becoming special assistant to the mayor, the other special assistant was Erwin France, who was head of Model Cities under Mayor Daley. He was an alpha like the mayor, they buddies, all of this and that. But I was a threat to him, but I didn't know at that time he was head of the Boule. It wasn't until later. And then that's when I went to my friends, my African-centered friends in Chicago, and said, "Hey, man, I'm researching these."
All right. He about to dig in y'all ass some more. Because, see, think about this. This is the 90s. It's really just a handful of motherfucking Kemetic conscious niggas on the scene. Most of the niggas teaching ain't the niggas with the real money sitting in the controlling shit. That's the more educated level beyond this so-called scholarship shit. These is the motherfuckers that's controlling the businesses. He fully breaking it down that nigga, everything you could go fuck with, the Boule controls. But you niggas tell me that it's the Bible that got us fucked up. And I'm trying to tell your dumb ass, no nigga, the Boule is based on Kemetic mythology, nigga. Don't you see all the Grecian Sphinx and the Greek letter fraternities? All that shit Egyptian. Ain't you been to Washington, D.C., nigga? All that shit Egyptian. Don't you see the seal on the money, nigga? All that shit Egyptian. But you motherfuckers don't give a fuck. You got a patch on your motherfucking eye. And the other fucking eye that you're looking out of is blind. The one you can see out of, you put a patch on that one. And you trying to look out the blind eye. But Steve Coakley gonna correct your motherfucking ass.
Folks, and I think I found the black folks connected to the white folks, and then I started finding black folks' names, African-centered black folks' names. Jay Carruthers, you know, and now Jay Carruthers, my hero.
Oh shit. He done found his motherfucking heroes. The Kemetic motherfucking niggas that taught y'all niggas all this bullshit. Y'all gonna find out 20 years from today that all these niggas was rejected boule niggas.
Chicago, he's in a group with Bobby and Conrad and Bob Stark, a lot of people, Anderson Thompson, people I love. He said, man, we got to talk. Let's talk about that. And looking up other names, I saw Asa Hilliard's name. And so I felt that as I began to get deeper into this relationship, I began to know.
Now understand, these African-centered niggas that went away from the Bible, but they still boule. They still boule.
It's that my African-centered friends were less happy about me getting to the bottom of this. And they wanted to focus me on, I remember they taking me in a room. I used to work for Bobby Wright. I remember them taking me in the research room. They had put this map of the United States. They had all these little pin boards on Montana, Utah, Wyoming. So now we want you to focus on these guys. I said, well, what bank do they run? And I was trying to say that the First National Bank of Chicago was Chase Manhattan, because the guy left Chase, came to Chicago, took it over. Well, time came. First National Bank of Chicago merged with Bank One of Ohio. They merged with the National Bank of Detroit. That's the region. They all merged with Chase, who had just merged with J.P. Morgan. And now Rockefeller got the banks from New York all the way to Chicago, nonstop. Every one of them locked down. But the Chicago was resistant to accepting this focus. See, why aren't our people focused on ExxonMobil? Why are no protests against high-ass oil prices, you know? I make my children know who's on the boards of all these corporations, the private equity firms that own all of the stock, Vanguard, Wellington, Global, Barclay Global. These companies are obscure to our community. We're not knowing, we're not focusing on the white supremacy that's coming at us. The Klan is not a threat to our African community. They're not coming in the neighborhood, but Chase and Goldman Sachs and Lazard Perez and Standard & Poor's and Moody's, obscure bond rating companies that can control cities that our people don't mess with. You know, I showed in Chicago and Cincinnati, which had one of the best boycotts of any city. Right. It is. I mean, it was, and it still went on. Just last weekend, they tried to come back with a big festival. Mary J. Blige pulled out. Some more people pulled out. Kind of made it lose money. And but there in Cincinnati, we targeted 3 people: the Taft family, which runs the state, Skull and Bones. Taft family still today. The governor was just left as governor. We targeted Procter & Gamble, and we targeted Carl Linder, who owned Chiquita Bananas. And when we got through harassing Chiquita Bananas, some of our friends at the radio station there had stock, $119 a share. When we finished with him, it went to $5.40 a share, and he sold Chiquita. Now, what I'm trying to say is there's a vulnerability in America that has not been exercised by our community because our secret societies have been pledged never to tell us those vulnerabilities. They work for them, they patch them, they protect them, they act like they don't exist, but they serve them, and they never utter against them, even never whisper to us. If you saw on that Boule tape when we were there messing at the convention, I told my buddies, we're not here to recruit them. We don't want them to be better brothers. We want to warn them that if they're the guard dog on white supremacy, when we jump the fence, what you going to do? You're going to bite, you're going to fight, or you're going to run out and let us get to who we after. But how do we get to who we after when we got all this wing and wang out here, all this distraction, all this misfocusing, and then is there complicity in our community? When some people killed Martin King, when some people killed Malcolm X, did that neutralize our present leadership? who are byproducts of assassination? Did this put us in a bind? Do we have a lot of old paper out there that white folks work when they want to? They keep us in a bind that we don't seem to talk back. How can they make $10 billion in 90 days in an oil company that was broken up when a white woman attacked them in 1911, Tarbell? They broke them companies up, them Standard Oils. And then they brought them all back together. Exxon got with Mobil, Chevron got back with Texaco, and all the things Rockefeller broke up got put back together.
Let me ask you a question. So would you say, because it seems to be the common denominator of all the corporations in the system you're talking about is capitalism / imperialism. So that in fact, organizations that are anti-capitalist as a theoretical formulation and specifically target these multinational corporations, oligarchies. That is the path of liberation for African people and destruction of this economic and political system. And maybe that's why also in this historical period we exist today, you find that very few so-called African nationalist or progressive organizations are anti-capitalist. In fact, what they're saying is we want to be part of the system as opposed to attack capitalism, but we want black capitalists instead of European capitalists.
And you know, it's the one thing we have to be careful for as time has progressed. If you were to go to Toynbee Hall in London when they created social work, when the rich felt it was necessary to infiltrate the poor so that they aspired through the tentacles of the rich that had been spread out amongst them, that if you fought capitalism all day and you ended up not fighting the social service network, you would find there's another aspect that might not even pledge to be capitalist at all, might pledge to be helping the people.
But most of the social service networks are either financed by nonprofits, churches, foundations, the state, cultural affairs departments of different colleges, different cities, some we go down a whole list of funding sources. So in the final analysis, if we go after the capitalist system as a theoretical formulation, but pinpoint, as you say, with laser hair focus, the specific corporations as a category to be assessed, especially in terms of the impact upon African people, like you say, the poor, the standard, and these multiple bond association that finance or definance infrastructure in our communities, and as capitalists now going to Iraq and Afghanistan to build their economic and social structure at the expense of ours.
There is a web. There is a web. There's sports. They're the media. They're education. They're social service. They're astronauts. They're the church. They are all of that. They are the secret societies too. And they all work in a loose-knit fashion, and they keep disagreements within a manageable limit. Let me just say a couple things real quick.
We got about 60 seconds.
And I want you to get on the website. This Saturday at the
man, don't make me do it. Don't make me go back in this shit. Don't make me do it. My logic unloosen shit. Don't make me do it. Don't make me break it all down, exposing all clowns, and bring it back around. Don't make me do it. See, Sarnetta decided he would shift the conscious community towards hip hop and arguments that he calls debates, gang banging. He forced the Hebrew Israelites to start camp banging. You remember they was camp banging and it was getting out of control? That was some Sarnetta shit. Camp banging. Then from the camp banging, they start tribe banging. Kemetic tribe versus Hebrew tribe. More tribe versus Kemetic tribe versus Hebrew tribe. Now it's award shows. And his channel through it all ain't never been fucked with. Never. This nigga ain't never cried about having 2 strikes on his motherfucking channel. He ain't never, ever got blocked from going live. They don't fuck with his channel. That's the source channel. That's the motherfucking beehive to the nigga shit. Everybody else, whop, whop. They was whopping shit quick as they could. Bop. As much shit he played on his channel, bootleg shit, movies, all kind of shit. Whop, whop. Never. His shit live as a motherfucker. Nobody ever questioned that shit. But it's not him controlling that part. It's YouTube and the people who control YouTube. Somebody called YouTube and said, don't turn off the nigga channel 102. We need that. It's causing chaos that we need. Let that shit ride. Never. But I'm not claiming Sonetta the police. I'm just claiming that the police ain't shut that down. They need a source channel to create this chaos that done fell into every platform. That's why I did the Sonetta effect. Way before all you niggas start copying my motherfucking style, I copied it from the Butterfly Effect movie. Came out 20 years ago. I was like, I'm going to use that effect concept and show how this nigga shit Sonetta doing has penetrated all the channels and then created the Nibba network, 1 billion fucking nigga channels full of trolls. And we can't. I told y'all, me and Israel Doctrine lit the conscious community on fire, burn that shit down. I was trying to get rid of this shit. I came in to conquer evil. but y'all wasn't ready because y'all was so evil. Y'all didn't want me to turn the lights on and show you, nigga, them ain't girls you fucking with. Them is cockroaches. Them ain't Negroes y'all dealing with. Them is serpents. Y'all didn't want me to turn the lights on so y'all could see all this shit. Y'all mad at Pitt boss. But can you get mad at Steve Coakley? Because he claimed that nigga was calling names, Kemetic names, Afrocentric niggas y'all ain't never heard of because they don't fuck with Sonetta and they ain't going to his award show. He got throwback niggas, Professor Smalls. Them niggas ain't no black power. Them niggas ain't teaching shit. Them niggas is struggling. That's why they over there at Sonetta, because they can get a little bone. Them niggas ain't nobody in the game. But remember what Steve Coakley said. Boule niggas are not to speak loud on international affairs. Therefore, no prominent black speakers are going to hit CNN or Fox News and lead the charge in pushing the narrative of what's going on in South Africa to bring that to a broader attention of black people in America so they can focus on what the fuck is going on over there for real and start to compare that shit to the propaganda they get, to the propaganda that they like. No, fuck that. Let's talk about Starbucks and a couple of niggas. Nah, fuck that. Let's talk about a crackhead who shot his mama. Nah, fuck that. We got to talk about Trump. That's all distractions. Trump and Putin is in the same game. It ain't no real friction. This nigga dropped a bomb on an empty fucking building that he gave them niggas warning that he was going to do it. What kind of motherfucking war shit is that? You hit a building that's been defunct for 10 years. Oh, that's great for promotion. And then on the news every fucking day, we're gonna put Trump in the courtroom. And y'all niggas just talk about this shit all day. Democrat, Republic shit all motherfucking day. Then you come down here to the conscious community and a motherfucker want to get in my chat room and ask me what the fuck do I think about Polite and Sarnetta. Bitch, they friends. They ran a scam for a quick weekend to distract you from something. I don't know from what. And then all of a sudden, Sarnetta on this motherfucker. Oh, you know, I told myself I'm going to quit talking about Polite. Polite, man, I ain't talking about Sarnetta. We trying to smash shit so we can get back to business. What motherfucking business? Distracting niggas? That part? But these motherfuckers that y'all have chosen, Pit Boss smashed them all. Name the nigga. I'll pull up the video. Umar smashed them. David Banner smashed them. Polite smashed them. And no response from none of these niggas. The few motherfuckers' names I wouldn't mention that I gave some motherfucking soft shit to and then bang them niggas in the head, I hit them niggas broad stroke. You just fit in, nigga. You getting hit anyway. I'm just going to let you off the hook because I kind of like you. I don't want to do you that bad. And who's been most feared to be let on a platform to go into a debate, to have a communication with anywhere in this motherfucking community, and nobody more feared than Pit Boss. Why? Because I will cut straight to the motherfucking chase. Knock your motherfucking socks off with some Steve Coakley, nigga. You can't compete to Steve Coakley with your reputation, motherfucker. I just do Steve Coakley on your punk ass. I won't even go to the rest of my motherfucking arsenal that could destroy you. I will take South Africa's movement and compare it to what the fuck you talking about and see who the fuck talking some real shit, you or them. It's nothing y'all can do but nigga bow down to a game much stronger than you so we could get some shit done. But y'all don't want a real motherfucker in control. Y'all like this bullshit. This your motherfucking cup of tea. I'm Digital Pit Boss, the realest motherfucker in it.